Today we're close to 30 degrees Celsius. The hemp is growing rapidly. The plot is probably putting on at least an inch or two of growth per day now, and will do so likely for another 2 to 3 weeks. Into the middle of August is when it starts to sort of maximize its for most of the Canadian varieties. It's going to maximize its height potential. If we were to get a plow wind, we don't have a lot of fiber built up within the stalk at this point in time. There's a lot of cellulose type activity, but the stalk itself can be somewhat susceptible to either lodging through wind damage or heavy rains. And we haven't seen it extensively through the prairies, but there are occasions, there's probably 2 or 3 in Manitoba for over the last 20 years where it's been a substantial, which makes harvesting quite difficult. What happens is it'll just bend over like this. Doesn't necessarily kill the plant, and what happens is it will start to what we call gooseneck and start to grow again, just like that. So what we want when we're harvesting is a nice erect crop, erect plant that when it lays down on the canvas of the combine, goes straight in through the combine without much issue. If it starts to crisscross, that's when it starts to cause issues within the combine. So again, there's likely a yield hit for sure, because you're cutting off a bit of the nutrient uptake, but you certainly don't lose the crop. So if we put on another foot of growth here and these large heads start bouncing against each other, shelling can happen quite excessive, and it's not a very good thing. So the trick is to make sure that when it becomes very close to being harvested, try not to leave it for the very last crop to harvest, because you do run a risk of having the seed get on the ground before you can harvest it. I would say this crop's getting fairly late in the season for a really bad hailstorm for any sort of recovery. But we have seen the instances where all we had was a little stick, and each one of these internodes, if it was still alive, we did see some growth once again. Maybe realized 60% of the potential yield, but it's as tough as it is to get established at times. It seems like it just will not die with all these environmental factors. As we move into fall, into harvest season, as the seed starts to develop, once the seed becomes mature, the bract material that is protecting the seed currently, or where seed grows in, that begins to open up. So it's indeterminate growth. So starting from the stalk and the stem outwards, the seed begins to mature, and each one of those seeds the bract opens up and exposes that seed. What that does is it exposes the seed, first of all, to birds, for one thing. So if you have a field situation, and I'll have bird guards out here soon, but once you have that situation, you'll start to see birds start to swoop in. You know that you're kind of getting close to harvest. The crop will still be very green and not look like it's mature, but you do need to get out there and check it often.